Welcome to Waiting on the Trade, a comics book club for people who can't keep up with monthly comics. I'm Matt Ledger.
I'm Patrick Fitzgerald Fleck.
And I'm Trevor Deutsch.
This month, we're talking about Avengers Twilight, a slightly too accurate story of America and the Avengers' future, from writer Chip Zdarsky, artist Daniel Acuna, and letterers Corey Petit and Joe Caramagna. Now, in case you need a refresher, Avengers Twilight begins by showing us an aged, disillusioned Steve Rogers, who's retired from being Captain America. After learning exactly how far America and the Avengers have fallen in his absence, Steve comes out of retirement for one last job, to assemble his own Avengers and convince America to live up to its ideals again. It's a cheery story that has no connection to current times. Trevor, welcome back to the podcast. Glad to have you for this fine superhero romp, I was gonna say, but I think that's the sickness talking. It's not really a romp, is it, huh?
No.
But I think it's a good one. Hearing none from the rest of my co-hosts.
I mean, I enjoyed it. Yes, I was waiting for Trevor to do it. Yeah, I liked it. It I don't know, harmonized with the current feelings I have for this country. It's strange.
And note the date in your calendar, listeners. Pat has said that he likes a superhero story. We could pack this one up. We could go home. We're done.
Okay. There is a caveat later on we'll get to, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think I have reasons why I think you like this one. I was kind of hoping you would like it, and I was like, if he likes it, I think it's because this and this and this. I'm interested to see if I'm right, but let's let Trevor talk about whether he liked it or not. He better. It was a Christmas gift I gave him.
That is true. I'm gonna be honest. I think I enjoyed it the first time I read it a lot more. Rereading it now, I'm like, oh, this feels way too real.
What changed?
So,
I don't understand.
Who's to say?
The CEO of a conglomerate company shaking the president and saying, "You're my mascot," and then slapping him and throwing him back in a desk. It's different now? I don't understand.
Who could guess why?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess let's get into that right now. So this book actually was slated for like being published during the pandemic. Like it was written in 2019, would have been like ready to go in 2020, but because of the pandemic and like publishing slowdowns and stuff, they ended up pushing it back. So like Chip wrote all this stuff, like everything in 2019, and like even the like the armed march on the Capitol that happens in here, like Marvel was like, um, like we wrote this a year ago. I don't so like I think they massaged some dialogue, Chip said in an interview about this, but like other than that, they didn't really make any changes because they didn't want to make any changes as a result of real life things happening. But like a lot of this is just Chip being to extrapolate really well as to what was coming. So good job, Chip.
Shockingly well.
You did it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed. I don't know if enjoyed is the right word. Like again, like felt simpatico with that bit of it where like a lot of this is very relevant current day. Like our America is also currently marching down the road to fascism. We are deporting people for no reason. We are locking people up with a president who I'm not sure how much he is or isn't controlled by the money that bought him the presidency, but it sure seems like he is to a degree. So yeah, I guess there's all that stuff, and that factors into your experience reading it now versus reading it then, I guess, Trevor. So sorry to give you this very prescient book.
Yeah. Yeah, still a good read. I mean, definitely would recommend it, but it's takes out a different light a couple months later, which is shocking how quickly things can change.
Right? I mean, this is also like, I don't know, over the course of decades in the book, stuff is played out slowly, and I feel like we're on the same slide in a way that is potentially a lot. I mean, we've been on the slide. Like
Yeah,
the media is obviously like not even that far of an extrapolation from where we've been at for quite a while now. Like Fox News has been Fox News for a bit, and like on the same side, like MSNBC has been MSNBC for a bit. Like those are very differing degrees, I think, of radicalization and harm from that radicalization. But like the media has been the media the way it is for a while, and like that shot is not hard to call, I don't think, but some of the specific shots called in here are a little bit too on the nose given how far back they were called.
I completely agree.
Part of why I got this book for you is I thought you would also just enjoy grizzled old man Captain America suiting back up for one more ride. So I'm curious how you liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always exciting to see him come back. Again, in light of everything, it's kind of disappointing to think, do we need to have a 80 or 90-year-old man come and save us right now? But exciting to see him come back and still kind of carry on the torch, and that he can't get away from that no matter what happens. Too, it's always drawing him back into fighting for the country and fighting for what's right.
I just can't quit you, America.
He's addicted.
Super soldier serum.
The sadly, the jacked old man giving RFK vibes, though, that was something too.
Captain America believes in vaccines, though, I think. I don't know. I guess it doesn't directly come up in here.
Has he ever shared his opinion on that?
I mean, I'm sure he has at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah, Pat, how did you find this? I guess part of the reason I thought you would enjoy it is because it's very divorced from the like continuity ass bullshit of Marvel
Yeah.
Comics, if that makes sense, right? Like it's very much off in its own corner, it's doing its own thing. It's a thing that Marvel doesn't do as well as DC actually, I feel like, where DC like every once in a while will do these kind of like self-contained stories, either um set like quote unquote in the present, but they're supposed to be kind of timeless, or set in the future. Like when we get into recommendations, like this is very close to Kingdom Come, which is like the DC equivalent version of this, of like the superheroes are all retired and everything's kind of gone shitty, and Superman's gonna come out for like
Mhm.
it, like this is a story that obviously has been done a bunch of times before, but I think there's still obviously like there's stuff to mine there, especially as the future keeps changing. And I think there's a lot of value to having those stories that are kind of like boxed off and you can just hand to someone if it's like, hey, you know the Avengers, right? Here, have this. Like you can make sense of this.
Yeah, I mean, I recognized everyone they talked about, so that's always a good thing. And like, the only big event is that Hero Day, which did they ever fully explain what happened?
Yeah, so as far as I mean, it's all
Trying
in
to
this comic.
remember.
So like if
Yeah.
it's all in there, but like as far as I understand, it's basically like Ultron gave a bunch of villains
Oh,
like
that's right. Yes.
enhancements and equipment and stuff, and they ended up going after like heroes' loved ones. Like I'm sure they went after Aunt May. Villains love to go after Aunt May, and that's why
Oh,
Peter
AMA's
died.
rough time. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then basically as part of that, like the battle got so bad that we had a civil war scenario, if you will, one of Trevor's
Mhm.
favorites of like, oh, the heroes are just as bad as the villains.
Yeah.
They're so
Yeah. I mean, I appreciated the world building that they were doing. I liked the few shots that we got of like the normal New York street when Steve was meeting with, was it Daredevil and Luke Cage, right?
yeah, before Daredevil gets killed.
Off screen. Yeah.
I actually really liked that choice to kill Daredevil off screen because it's just like you don't get to see all of the evils that the government is doing. Like you like it just happened.
Sure.
I think also I wouldn't be surprised if that was just like that was a moment that was in there and got cut for page count, but like I think it works as a
Maybe.
narrative choice of like you just saw that guy literally this morning on a park bench and now he's dead. He's gone. Like what the hell? Like what
Right.
is going on? So
I thought it was,
yeah, I
I
think
don't know,
well, go ahead.
wasn't Luke Cage with Iron Fist more so than Daredevil?
Yeah, Iron
Hmm.
Fist died in that same shot that Spider-Man died in. You can see his head like
Is
crushed
that
under a
who it
pile
is? Oh, I
of
was
metal.
trying to figure out
Yeah.
who was crushed in the debris.
Poor guy. It just
Oh,
never stops.
dang. Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
I think a lot of our heroes are dead also, which is kind of what leaves us with this semi-ragtag group of Avengers. Like it's not a bad group. So our group ends up being Cap, obviously, Luke Cage, who we've discussed, Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris.
Kamala
Oh my
Harris,
God,
yes.
Kamala Harris is
Oh my
one of the
god.
Avengers.
Uh,
Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Oh my God. We should have
oh,
waited. We should have waited till next week, but we need a podcast
Holy
now.
shit.
I knew I was gonna do
Thor.
that. Yeah, Thor. New Hawkeye, who seems
Yes.
cool. Um, and then Luke Cage's Defenders. I think the two of whom we see the most are Tyler, the kind of like tech whiz kid guy, and Amy, who's kind of like the leader of the Defenders. And I think I mentioned Tony already, right? Did I mention Tony?
I don't think so.
Okay,
You mean
Tony, and
Tony or
then
just Tony's head?
Tony's head.
Tony's head. The same thing, right? Like this is a big head.
Futurama head in a jar.
Just stick that guy in some armor. It's fine.
Yeah, it's great.
And then at risk of spoilers, we get the Wasp in at the end there for a last minute save. But yeah, that's kind of our group. For a lot of it, we're sticking with Captain America though. Like his narration is what we follow through the whole book, and I think Chip does a really good like grizzled old Captain America narration. Like to reference another one of the like very popular DC future stories. I got a lot of Dark Knight Returns vibes from this. I don't know if either of you guys have actually read that, which is kind of wild. Um, hearing none.
I don't believe so. Now I have to look.
Yeah. Like it's the kind of got that same sort of like that, I don't know, somewhat Clint Eastwoody vibe, if that makes sense. Like that's sort of like the kind of like gravel I hear in the narration in this. Like
Sure.
that's sort of what I get out of this one. So again, stuff that's been done before, but I think is done well here. Get Captain America talking about the dream. Who doesn't love Captain America talking about the dream? I think to your point, Pat, like you were saying earlier, though, I think Acuna's art really sings here in a lot of
Hmm.
places. Like I think
It,
his colors for the future like really stand out, and I think a lot of the like contrast with like the heavy blacks that he uses later on really work really well too.
I actually really enjoyed that, and that's definitely an art style I don't normally like, but to separate from the rest of the Marvel universe or timeline, I guess it really does a good job. I feel of differentiating that. So that was a nice touch early on to go, okay, this is not your standard Marvel or Avengers comic.
Yeah, it's definitely not like the typical Marvel house style of like, I don't know, like a trying to think of like a good Avengers artist comparison, but like a Mark Bagley or something, right? Like more straightforward, like a little bit flatter characters, like more distinct line work. I think Acuna's style really works to be like, hey, we are in the future now, like you were saying, Trevor.
Yeah.
A lot of the little touches are nice. Like I liked the crosswalk with the like walk sign embedded in it. I liked a lot of the graffiti and stuff, the superhero logos painted on like the fighter pilots' helmets.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
This world where the superheroes have been like forcibly retired but are also like weirdly still pop culture icons. Like I don't entirely know
Well,
how to
they've been
square
made into
that
like
circle. Yeah, I mean like,
merchandising.
yeah, they're merchandising and there's like the fake Avengers, which we should talk about, I guess, too. So like the Avengers are still out there and they're like the the weird kind of capitalist superhero versions, I guess, at this point, though they
Yeah.
spoilers don't actually exist.
Yeah, so it was just like fake news reports and stuff. Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Yeah, I think so, right? So like every time you've seen the Avengers, they've never actually existed. It's just like all AI generated
Yeah.
nonsense, I guess, right? It's curious what you guys make of that.
Say the equivalent of the traffic stop feel good button. It's just out there so everyone feels good. There's somebody still watching over them, but never exists or doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, you can put Captain America on like merchandising still if he exists in news reports and stuff, but like the fact that
Yeah.
no one has ever actually seen him or like obviously recorded him because like recording is illegal in Red Skull's fascist America, so that you can't record like all the horrible things that he's doing. But um, yeah, that plot point was a little bit weird to me. That was the one that didn't quite work for me, of, like, the president thinks these Avengers exist, like, without having ever met them, potentially, unless he, like, met them when they were, like, holograms or something? I don't know.
Well, like
Um,
they did stuff, right? They talked about the atrocities done by the Avengers in foreign countries.
I think most of that
So,
was probably the Hulk, is what I've decided. Like, that's how I was explaining that away in my head of, like,
okay.
it's the Thunderbolts and the Hulk. and then they just like give the credit to the Avengers in the news and stuff. But
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm
Warner
having
is
trouble
always
explaining that one too. That's just kind of how I'm trying to square it away.
Sure.
it. It kind of felt like to your page count thing before, like they wanted to have some fight at some point, and then like, oh, we don't have the pages for this, so they just never existed.
They're fake, yeah. The bit that really weirded me out about it is like James Stark thinks he's building armor for them. So like
Yeah.
he's probably met them at some point, right? You would think. Like he's
Measurements and like bio readings.
like you're teaching this Iron Man how to use his Iron Man armor, I would think. I don't know. It's weird. Like the fact that he is somehow not in on it. That's the bit that doesn't quite gel for me,
I
even more than the president.
honestly, I didn't buy the whole James is now good. Like I didn't like the whole his mom comes back and all of a sudden he realizes, oh, the fascists are wrong and I shouldn't be doing what I. There was no. He didn't have any justice done for him because he committed so many crimes, and yet,
Yeah.
no, it's okay. He's rebuilding things, so he's turned a new leaf. It's okay.
To be fair, that's like just how the Avengers work. Also, like former villain, get in here. You're an Avenger now.
I guess, but it's so immediate. It's so like, oh, he's literally fighting against the Avengers, and then he's hugging his mom, and he's changed his mind. Like, okay, all right, sure.
Well, if you hug your mom, you're redeemed. So
The mom that was in your ring the whole time.
He's a genius. He'll figure it out. Never
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yeah, and I mean, I was really enjoying the plot line, and honestly, the reveal of Red Skull made it worse for me. I think the plot was stronger when it was actually fascists and corporations and greed.
I mean,
But
it
no,
is all
don't
those
worry.
things.
Yeah, but don't worry. It was because of the supervillain Nazi.
I
That sort
yeah,
of took away from the message of the comic for me. It's like, oh, don't worry. It's not because we've lost the soul of America. It's because we were tricked. It's like, it sort of gutted it for me. I don't know.
I do agree, Pat. Of like so many of the things feeling accurate, that's the one where it feels like, oh, it's the classic. Like, well, that would never happen in America because we're better for whatever reason,
Yeah.
and when it can be pointed to that, oh, it was still somebody else. It wasn't America who made that choice, and
Oh, see, I mean, I think I disagree with you guys on that point where it's like it being the Red Skull doesn't especially matter because like it could have been anyone, right? Like, sure, the Red Skull's kind of like tipping America down this path, but like he's not doing it in a way that Americans don't have a choice, like which is what Captain America is saying throughout this. Like he's doing it in a way that people are complying with what he wants them to do because they think they're getting something out of it. So like I think it kind of is playing into that theme of like it would be so easy for this to tip over. All it needs is 1 to 2 bad actors who have enough power, access, and money, and we're doing the things we're doing right now. So like I think it works on that level for me. I get what you guys are saying where it's like the obvious Nazi is an obvious Nazi, but it's like, the obvious Nazi is an obvious Nazi in real life, and it's still happening. So I don't really, I don't see the difference between these two pictures to like
But
bring up the
I don't know.
office.
The fact that they beat Red Skull and all like things have now turned a corner. I think it's too clean at the end.
I don't think the book is telling you that everything will be okay from this moment on at the end of this book. I think the book is telling you that like we have exposed the prime baddie and hopefully that will help. But I don't think the book is telling you everything is automatically okay again. Like there is rebuilding to be done, right? Like that's part of what
Well, sure,
James,
but
who I agree turned a corner very quickly. Like that's not
I
that's
think
not the
him
hill I'm dying
standing
on here.
trial for what like his part in the events that happened would have gone to, like the fact that there is healing and there needs to be repercussions, as opposed to no, it's okay. He's rebuilding Stark Tower or whatever he's doing at the end. It's like,
Avengers Mansion, Pat. Come
oh,
on.
I'm sorry.
Billionaires have mansions.
It just it it felt like they were telling, like we were talking about a story that resonated with the events we're dealing with, and then all of a sudden it turned into a comic book with superheroes as opposed to something that could actually, I don't know,
Yeah,
have a
that's fair.
moral or something at the end.
And then it was all better.
And then it was better.
I know you're saying you don't think that, Matt, but yeah, I'm more on Pat's side of this one. That does feel like it was just kind of a snap. Like, okay, it's all good now.
Yeah, and I think that's completely a reasonable take. I'm curious, like, do we think James Stark actually broke any laws?
That's the thing, Matt. When the people in power can change laws and elect judges, it's sort of hard to say whether or not laws are being broken.
Is it possible to break laws if you're a billionaire? It seems like it's not.
Let's say hypothetically, the Supreme Court says that you can no longer be charged
With
any kind of
crimes?
felonies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Hypothetically,
know
we'll
what
say
we do
that
at
might
that
happen
point.
in some sort of
Yeah,
weird
so
comic book scenario. I agree, though, on your guys' point of like to James specifically, it's like that dude did so much stuff that made him complicit in everything going on, and it's just like
like, yes, he was
you're an Avenger
manipulated
now. You're Iron
from like
Man.
childhood. Yeah, from like childhood, he's been manipulated by Red Skull. I get that, but still, he's now an adult who made decisions that had repercussions, and he's not standing like there's no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
mean, jokes aside, that dude probably did break a law. He dressed up in an Iron Man costume and started like an assault on the Capitol. Somewhere in there, probably broke a law.
But yeah, I liked the story. I think, and maybe it's just too much to ask for Marvel to do this, but like to like have a stance that has some backbone to it at the end, I would have liked more.
Yeah, I think that was gonna be my cop out answer. Also, is like as much as it's a off in its own corner future set, not in continuity Avengers
Yeah.
story, like it's still an Avengers story and it still has to do the Avengers story things. Like
Yep.
so there's that. But I think I disagree with you guys on the like the Red Skull being behind it, like deflates the power of it. I think that's not super important to me, but I do definitely agree with you guys on the like Stark just gets to like pay off his debt to society by being a rich billionaire who's an adventurer now.
I mean, to be
That
fair, that
feels
is
not great.
probably true to what is
I was gonna
happening.
say
Like,
it's accurate.
I don't think Elon Musk is gonna stand any kind of repercussions for his bullshit. So who knows? Maybe Marvel was right again. Right again. Shouldn't have questioned.
Chip,
They
you've
always
been right the
know.
whole time.
Well, at least Tony and Bruce end up in
In
Valhalla with.
Valhalla?
Yeah, that was a fun little addition.
I was just gonna ask, do you guys have any moments that stood out to you that we haven't talked about? Because somehow we got roped into talking about the end of the book before we really talked that much about the beginning of the book, I feel like. So I'll make sure we go back and talk about some of the more standout moments in the book also. But we can talk about another moment that's from the end of the book. I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that Thor was like, yeah, get these guys. Get these guys in
Yeah.
Valhalla, please.
I've never actually thought about Valhalla actually being an afterlife. Is it in Marvel like an afterlife?
Yeah, it exists. I don't
Okay.
know what the like qualifications are or whatever, but like Valkyrie, who I think is in a movie at some point, like is a Valkyrie who like takes warriors to Valhalla in
Okay.
the comic book version.
It's interesting when we start to talk about like because they died, right? So it's not their physical forms that are there, it's quote unquote
Yeah,
their
yeah.
souls.
Thor killed the heck out of Hulk because Hulk asked him to, and Tony got to do the thing Tony does where he flies a bomb away from Earth.
Classic Tony.
Always meant to do that every timeline.
I do think it's funny they have like thematic armor for Valhalla that are in their like themes.
I think
That
that
made me
actually brings
laugh.
up a good point. I think the character designs in this of all the like future costumes and like future, I don't know, like future faces, I guess for lack of a better term. Like I like Grizzled Steve's like just look overall, like got that
True.
scar, got the like graying temples, a little bit of wrinkles, like looks good. The like future Captain America suit, also real classy. Like it. It's a lot like Bucky's suit when he was Captain America for a little bit, but that's a good look. Um I think everyone's like future looks are pretty standout, except for maybe Tony's. Tony's wasn't my favorite, but
You didn't
the
like the head in the
Valhalla
jar?
armor makes up for it. The head in the jar I liked actually a lot. The like all red suit of armor thing that he's got going on, and
Oh,
the
sure.
once he's like actually Iron Man again was a little bit. I don't know. I think it could have used some color to like break it up, if that makes sense, in the way that some of the more classic Iron Man armors we see throughout have those like yellow and like yellow, gold, and red elements to it. Like all red is just like kind of a look. It's a lot,
Sure.
especially while fighting the Red Skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think one of the things that Marvel comics in general lean on, perhaps too much, is a cool Thor entrance.
Yeah.
Like a page turn reveal of, oh hey, it's Thor, you're gonna get wrecked. But I think this comic's Thor entrance is still really good, and I liked it a lot, so can't fault it on that. Captain America saying that when he's in trouble he prays, and then Thor shows up and says, "Shall we assemble?" Like, it's a good one. I mean, not gonna fault it. I think Acuna does a lot with the lighting in that scene also that makes it really dramatic and awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Thor really came out looking pretty cool, and had some banger lines too. I like the line he says when he actually shows up when they're on the raft? Is that where they
Yeah,
are? It's been a wolf's age. I
that
like that.
is.
yeah.
Yeah. Shall we assemble? He's been waiting.
Turns out being a god, he ages pretty gracefully compared to everyone else.
Yeah, that was sort of an interesting thing. We were talking about, Matt, our enjoyment of the Furin anime and the whole thing with Thor not aging alongside his human companions. They didn't really go too deep into it, but it was cool that they
Yeah,
referenced
but
it
I
here and
mean,
there.
using that as a reason that he was kind of like sticking away from Earth also, in addition to
'Cause
the
it hurts him to
ULA stuff.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like, all my friends have been scattered to the wind and are old. I'm gonna just hang out in Asgard, I
gotta
guess. And
wait.
Loki's like, no, bro, you gotta go see your friends. Get out there.
Good Loki.
Loki's such a good brother.
That's just a fact. He's the god of love, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
That
the god
sounds
of
right.
love
Yeah,
putting the Avengers together. That's
brothership.
what Loki
Yes.
does.
Uh, it's his
Yeah,
role, just like Tony's to fly bombs away.
like that kind of segs back into the point we were talking about earlier. Like, I feel like you could, and I'm interested for your guys' opinion on this more than mine because I'm too deep. I'm too deep in the lore. I'm too deep in the minds. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like you could hand this to someone who's just MCU familiar and be like, "Hey, you'll like this," and like the characters are like kind of the ideal versions enough that like even though Iron Man and the Wasp are together in this, right? Like that's something that
Yeah.
maybe wouldn't make sense in your Marvel Cinematic whatevers. Like I think you can get past any of that stuff and kind of recognize the like the versions of the characters that are in here because for the most part they're pretty streamlined. Like they're pretty true to the core of those characters as opposed to any specific or like any weird minutia.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty MCU coded for the most part.
I would also agree. I think the only thing being what you mentioned already with Tony and Wasp being together was the only thing that was a little jarring to me and trying to get me to remember if that had actually happened in different stories and I was just forgetting it. But everything else seemed in line.
Yeah, and that has like happened on and off at least once that I know of. So maybe it was the status quo in 2019 when this was written. I don't know. How do you guys feel about a Captain America who like pointedly doesn't kill?
I think it has more repercussions for you because you have read more of the comics. But I mean, I guess because he's a soldier, right? Of course he kills. Like that's
Yeah, that's always been my take, honestly, is like that dude fought in World War II. So like yeah, I'm sure like he avoids it when he can, but like
yeah. It
there's
felt
go ahead.
Batman-esque, right? Who felt like they were
Yeah.
That's
trying to meld the two a little bit more.
yeah. I think Matt, we've talked about this plenty of times. Of the reason I've always gravitated towards Captain America over Batman is that it feels just that mildly about more realistic in quotes of like, of course, being a comic book, but that at some points you there's just no outs to certain situations of not that you're going out seeking that. You're not the Punisher, where it's just shooting everybody, but there's occasionally situations where you need to.
Yeah, I just like this is a comic where multiple times Captain America is like, if you're with me, you don't kill. Like he straight up says those words to the new Hawkeye, right? And it's just like, I mean, it's basically World War II again, guy. Like you're fighting the Red
But
Skull in a
it's
country
on
where he's
American
like,
soil, right? He's fighting other Americans who are following
yeah,
the
so I mean
orders
there could be
of Red
that
Skull.
too.
And I
Yeah,
could see
some of
people
it's
having
part of it.
problems with Captain America killing American
Killing
soldiers in the
Americans,
comic
yeah.
book. Yeah.
I mean, I just like as that being his firm stance, that's always there are different runs where that is and isn't true for the character, and like that stance has always been a little bit weird to me when it's directly called out like this. Like I think you can write stories where he's not forced to kill anyone and not like directly draw attention to it like this.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just one of the things that stood out to me when I was reading the book. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a Cap story where he is a we don't kill anyone Captain America," and it's like, my dude, I know you fought in a world war. Like, come
I
on.
do think it's because it's on in American soil. If it was like if there were androids from or whatever his name is. Who's the
Ultron.
bad Ultron? If like there
Ultron,
were
yeah.
Ultron androids, he would be killing them left or right. If they were like
Hang on.
aliens
Now
or
I'm looking and like, let's kill the Red Skull, right? In this,
someone does.
I'm pretty sure the last action taken against the Red Skull is Captain America shoving his shield into him.
Yeah, but he's not American, so it's fine.
So it's okay.
Pat, that's the slippery slope that leads to.
No, it's
We're
fine.
in
I see no
now.
problems.
No, no, no. If you're in America and you're not American, you don't have rights. It's fine. Anyways, it also was interesting because to your point, Pat, like the our new Hawkeye, formerly Bullseye, in this kind of says the same thing of like multiple times, like I'm not gonna kill unarmed civilians, like I'm not gonna kill Americans, like, and I think from that character that makes a lot of sense because they're coming from like that military background also, but like theirs is a I'm not gonna kill quote unquote good people take, whereas Caps is like I'm not gonna kill anyone take.
Well, I mean, Cap was also
Like
trying to do like win hearts and minds,
hearts
right? And
and minds.
if you were going to kill a bunch
Don't
of
want to leave a body count
scientists or
here.
guards on the raft, that wouldn't go well for the public.
Yeah, I mean they
So
already have a hard enough time when the fake Avengers newscast goes out saying like they just attacked a place of science. How
a
awful.
place of science.
A place of science. We were just
Higher learning
experimenting
institutions
guts
are
here.
really important in this country. We would never, yeah. Yeah, so I think it's a combination of things. Also, people like Batman, so just get that in there.
People do like Batman. Just make him Batman, guys. Just put
Just
some
make him
earrings on
Batman.
him. Kind of curious now because like I've mentioned Kingdom Come and Dark Knight Returns, but like have you guys read any of these like sort of hey, it's set in the future and the hero's coming out of retirement for one last job sort of things in superhero land?
I don't think so,
I have
honestly.
read Kingdom Come, but it's been a
A
long
while, right?
time. I
Yeah.
don't think I want to say how long. It makes me really old.
Yeah.
Just trying to think because there's so many like I've never read Old Man Logan. I don't know if you have, Trevor.
No,
Okay,
no.
that's another the Red Skull is in control of some set of
Oh, really?
territories. Yeah,
That's
like in
funny.
that one, it's Mark Millar, so like it's very edgelordy at spots. So like he like wears Captain America's mask.
Oh,
It's interesting. I haven't read all of it, but from what I've read, it's kind of interesting. I'm just kind of thinking through like the other iterations of this particular story that exist and kind of like stacking this up against them. I think this is a good one. Like this is one that I think I would put up there in my list of yes, you should read it versus like no, this is not a version of this story you should read.
yeah, I agree. I would recommend somebody does read it. I said it was just jarring to have read it twice in a 4 or 5 month span and
And have
the
very different
reactions.
feelings about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I guess so when you read it the first time, were you assumed that this was America and it couldn't happen to us?
I don't think I would go that far, but I
I
think I
was I was
tried out.
purposefully I phrased it purposefully
Yeah,
tiltedly, I guess. It
of
is a
course.
podcast.
But yes, if I think you always try to hope for the positive, right? You don't want to just no matter how much
Yeah.
reality point you separate, you hope that there's things will work out better, and maybe still foolishly hope that somehow things will work out. But yeah, that's definitely jarring to see how quickly some things can change.
We've talked about some of the the deportation incarceration stuff, which I think is in here a little bit. Like, I think to your guys' point earlier, it's different reading Captain America like letting James Stark rebuild Avengers Mansion in a world before all the January 6th protesters have been pardoned and after all the January 6th protesters have been pardoned. Like, I think that potentially hits a little bit different as a result of that. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting read at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think the Red Skull should reveal himself, and then the public should still support him. And then it was like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. That's what I've seen.
I
This
mean,
rings
again,
true.
let me flip to the end of the book here quick because I don't think anything is like specifically called out as like everything will be better now with no work. Like I think Thor even says like you guys need to continue to inspire. It's not like they can stop. It's not like the job is done, right? Like all those radicalized people that Hawkeye is talking about in those panels are still radicalized. So there's a lot of work to do, guys. Some
Sure.
work to do.
This is a standalone, right? That doesn't continue the story anywhere because they obviously were setting up something towards the end.
No, to my knowledge, this is a standalone and will remain a standalone. I don't think anyone has any plans to do return to the world of Avengers Twilight, as far as I know, which I hope it stays that way. I like when these self-contained things actually
Have an
stay
end.
contained. Like Kingdom Come actually ends up having, I guess, just to compare it across to the thing that feels most directly applicable to me, like Kingdom Come ends up getting like a 4-issue follow-up miniseries, and then like some other stuff that's set in that world, and then there's like a JSA run that pulls in the Kingdom Come Superman, and like you get stuff in that, and like some of it's good, some of it's not as good, like
Sure.
um, but all of it is kind of unnecessary in my opinion. Like the original story kind of stands alone and is cool because it was unique. I think this is the same way where if it had another story about like James Stark's Avengers or whatever, right? Like it would be odd. And also I don't know that I want to see that. I think I like it the way it is.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think I'd be picking that up to read if it came out. I don't know if he was super interesting.
Yeah, I guess the only have we I think we've talked about pretty much all of the Avengers who have significant screen time except for Kamala. What do you guys think of Kamala?
I mean, I voted for her. So.
Oh my God.
I liked her. I liked the whole she's a mom. She cares about her kids before anything. And they didn't like downplay the sacrifice she's making. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that sometimes too, where it's like I recently tried to get involved for like a canvassing thing for the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, and it was like through Planned Parenthood, signed up to do it, and then they decided that they had enough signatures from that point in time, and they were like, "But you can come here," and I was like, "That's on the other side of town on a different day, guys." Like, and I'm like, this really like doing that dance in your head of like, I want to do something. Like if I don't do something and the election goes the other way, like and I know I haven't done everything I can do, but like I ended up not going. It's just like, oh, like how do you balance those things? I don't know. That's kind of like a lot of what I see on in those early, especially Kamala pages, like you're talking about, Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, and probably most of it, the only answer you have is in hindsight, right? Because you could stop working in 60 hours a week or whatever, trying to help achieve what you think is right. But obviously, that comes with other real world implications for you too. Then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain America almost lost his lady love in this because he chose to be Captain America again.
well, at least it was only almost.
Only almost, because it's an Avengers comic book, so it can only ever be almost.
Mm-hmm.
So on random scenes within it, is the Captain America going my chest after he takes care of the Red Skull at the end a old man reference that he's having a heart attack, or is that You got hit in the chest and I missed something.
I think he's having a heart attack because he's
Okay.
still got that like arrhythmia thing from the beginning of the story, and the super soldier serum only lets him be so super soldiery through his advanced age. So yeah, I think he's having a heart attack because then the wasp hits him with a
The
bunch of
wasp, yeah, like
electricity
defibrillates him.
in the
Yeah,
way that you
Okay.
do in a superhero comic when someone's
Well-
having a heart attack.
It works 100% of the time.
Yeah,
she's a doctor, right? A medical doctor.
I'm pretty sure she's like a fashion designer in the normal Marvel universe, but
Yeah, so she's fine. Yeah, just
what's
throw
the
some
difference? I
electricity at
don't.
a doctorate in fashion design.
Perfect.
That
I mean,
works.
if it works for Thor in the movies, it can work for Wasp in the comics.
Yeah, I guess we haven't really talked about the big Thor Hulk fight at all. I thought the page where they're kind of like hopscotching across the country was a really cool page.
It was just bouncing across different states.
Yeah, they
So
didn't
is it
have the classic Mount Rushmore destroy the face of the current president or whatever. A statue of Red Skull gets destroyed as they
So
fly
maybe
by.
maybe they already took down Mount Rushmore. Who knows?
Who knows?
then fighting in the Grand Canyon afterwards?
I do like that it is the Red Skull's ego that ends up tripping him up. Like he basically has already won. Like I think Kamala says in here, like doesn't need to do any of this stuff he's doing at the end, but he just like really needs to sign his work, like really needs to underline it. And I think that is hopefully something that we could play out in the real world. I don't know. Like it is something we can play out in the real world. I think that's part of the reason the first Trump administration was like not as effective at being evil as it could have been. So hopefully that will still stop the second one a little bit also.
We've definitely learned that actions have consequences in the real world,
Yeah.
right? That's how that
Oh,
works.
yeah. Again, it's not illegal if the law says you can do it. So just gotta change those pesky laws.
I mean, that's
Or
the
ignore
reason
them.
I was asking if this was a standalone, because I think again the more interesting story to me is because a vast majority of Americans would still be following Red Skull. Like, yes,
Oh,
they
yeah,
saw
for
the
sure.
images of
Yeah,
this. There would
absolutely.
be cults or whatever you want to call them that would be all over that would still be
Everything was
loyal.
much better under the Red Skull. The price of eggs was lower.
Eggs, you understand. So I mean, and that's the story that I keep wanting to go back to, like the actual, like, okay, but it's messy. And yeah, you had a big fight and you defeated the big bad Nazi dude, but it's still, God, it's going to be messy. It's like if you were to snap your fingers and half of all living things died and then they came back. Could you imagine how messy that would be?
It wouldn't be messy at all. Everything would pick
Can
up
you imagine-
exactly how it was. what
Can you imagine
problem
if
do
you
you have?
didn't count trees as living things too? Like you don't
Oh
even
my
have a basic
God.
understanding of biology. How
My
weird.
goodness. Weird.
Wait, how do we know half of the trees didn't die?
It's true.
Did you see half the trees disappear in those movies? Because I didn't.
That one
maybe
shot of
it
the
was-
courtyard with the bird, was that tree there the first time? I don't remember. I have to go back and watch now.
Maybe it was other parts of the world that half the trees disappeared from. It was
So when the people disappeared,
Yes.
did
Let's
all
get
the
into it.
bacteria in their body disappearing?
Yes,
count as
all
half the
living
bacteria
things. That's right.
disappearing? Or did half the bacteria in other people's bodies also disappear?
No. It was a bunch of sludge just like everywhere. Yeah.
I will say, I think the mansion rebuilding, and with James potentially doing it too, is much more supposed to be a metaphor than an actual,
Yes.
hey,
Sure.
everything will be all right. Like it's much more of like a, hey, we can put this thing back together. It's obviously like still broken. Like he's still in the process of rebuilding it. Everything isn't hunky dory and fixed. So I think it is thinking about your guys' thoughts a little bit, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't think it's completely throwing them aside, while at the same time it is being that Avengers superhero comic it has to be. I understand you want the messy story, Pat, so I guess we'll just have to wait for Avengers Twilight 2.
I just feel like it's the
I've been
interesting
told that you
story,
want
right?
it.
I don't know. They tried to do something like that in the MCU with the Captain America Winter Soldier series, and they dropped the ball on that one. So I don't know. Messy things are interesting. And God, would I like to someone to say, no, this is how we can get out of this kind of
I'm gonna
mess.
say, I also think that if a writer could solve this for us, they would just go solve it, hopefully, and not write about it, but I don't know.
I don't know, man. You got to make that money to buy them eggs. Yeah, thanks, Matt, for an uplifting topic.
Yeah.
Escapist material.
The podcast is supposed to be about stuff that has come out recently, that's of the moment, of the times. We very rarely hit the zeitgeist, and I think we hit it this time, so that's good. Look at us go. We're fulfilling the mission of the podcast by reading stuff that's only slightly depressing, but the art's real good.
The art is very good.
It is very nice art. We can so pretty.
We didn't talk about Jimmy's anime eyes. He had them every once in a while. He had real big eyes.
Yeah, that dude.
All
that
the better
dude's
to see you.
performing cosmetic surgery on himself for sure. For sure.
He was a weeb growing up, and he did.
It's like I need my eyes to be wider.
Yeah, all in all, decent comic, man.
Just jot it down as Pat read a superhero book he liked. Today is April 23rd, 2025.
Oh no.
All right. Well, cool. I think we can skip to the recommendations portion of the podcast then. So, again, assuming someone read this and liked it as we did, what would you recommend that they read or watch or otherwise check out in the future?
I can jump in with my traditional non-comic recommendation. I got two. The first one, you were talking about Old Man Logan. I would recommend the film Logan.
Logan,
I feel it's
which is
got-
based on the book Old Man Logan.
I would assume it's probably my favorite X-Men film, just because it's just written real well and acted real well. And I really wish it was Hugh Jackman's last portrayal of Wolverine, but what are you gonna do? The
You can just
paycheck.
pretend there weren't any more movies after that. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. I would recommend it if you liked this at all. If you have any interest in X-Men, I think it's really well written. And Patrick Stewart acts his ass off in that film and does a really great job. My other recommendation, Wolfenstein, the new remake that came out. I want to say probably 10 years ago. Oh God,
Just kidding. 10 years ago.
When did it come out? 2014. Oh God, 11 years ago. Yeah, Wolfenstein: The New Order does similar stuff for this, where fascists have taken over the world. Can you imagine? But in this one, you get to beat the shit out of them, so it's cathartic. It's got similar feels to this comic, I feel. So Wolfenstein: The New Order, and I haven't played the sequel, but I hear that one's good too. The New Colossus. So check them out.
Well, I actually can't remember what I recommended on the previous one, so I will recommend both here. I know you mentioned it before, Matt, of Civil War. I think that's an outstanding one. Comics that are related to Captain America, since he was running the majority of this book. Also, of course, love one of my all-time favorites. The Winter Soldier storyline was just outstanding. So if you enjoy Captain America, I think both of those are great reads.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say that if you like this particular portrayal of Captain America, Chip Zdarsky is going to be on the ongoing Captain America comic book soon, with like a new Captain America #1. Let me see if I can find the release date for that quick while I keep talking to fill this empty air. That Captain America series with Chip Zdarsky writing starts on appropriately July 2nd. So,
Wait, what do you mean? It should be 4th, right?
well, I mean, July 2nd is the closest Wednesday, I would think. So,
Fair enough.
so if you want to follow Chip and Captain America over to that, I'm sure that'll probably be good. And I think my recommendation is, because it's been like, dear God, 30 years since it came out, so I think I could legitimately recommend this to someone they may not have actually read it after having read Avengers Twilight, is Kingdom Come, which is like basically the DC version of this story, where it's got really good writer Mark Waid. It's got Alex Ross, who has like unconventional art style, like it's all painted and really cool looking, similar to how we were talking about Acuna's stuff is not like your typical superhero comic art style. And you can see what we were all worried about in the 90s instead of what we're all worried about now in the 2020.
Quaint.
What were we worried about then?
I mean, some of it's the same stuff a little bit. Not all of it, though, at least. Yeah, we can maybe do that one for the podcast sometime, and then we can learn what we were worried about in the 1990s.
Sure. I can just collect all the existential crises. And then...
Well, no, it's better now, Pat. You don't have to worry about the 90s.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, if you want a superhero comic that's just nonsense bullshit with no political message in it, we can find one. It's harder than you think it is, actually, because like turns out superhero comics are like semi-political.
Keep your politics out of my comics. How dare you?
We can find one if you want, Pat. I can find you one. But you guys will have to wait for us to discuss that wonderful book. For now, I think that's going to do it for this month's discussion of Avengers Twilight. As always, if you want to get in touch with Pat or myself, you can email us at waitingonthetrade@gmail.com. You can also find more comics-related goodness at mattreadscomics.com. Trevor, thank you for coming on to talk about this book that hit differently 3 months apart from 2 distinct readings. Really appreciate you coming on to chat about superheroes and politics and everything in between with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.